All right, welcome to the BoredGamers Podcast, Episode 3. This is your host, Chansey. With me, we have the biggest bear in the business, Camden.
Yes. Wait.
I can't hear you.
But isn't a bear like a homosexual, large, hairy person? Because I'm only two of the three things you just mentioned.
I still can't hear you. There you go. And then we have Raymond. He may have a pea-sized... Never mind. We got Blake.
Blake here.
We got Blake.
Hi.
That was the worst opening ever.
Yeah, can we redo that?
No. We're going with it.
All right.
Okay, so
It's been a trying day this Friday.
Yeah, it's been a weird day. This episode...
I had a snake fall on me. A snake. Serpent.
A serpent. Okay, this episode we are going to be talking about Captain America Civil War. So if you've not seen this, it is going to be probably spoiler heavy. Sorry, Adam.
Or you can save $10 and not go see it because it's overall pretty meh.
Yeah, this is probably, by the time this actually airs, it's probably going to be a month or so behind. But,
and you've already made your own opinions and realized that it is meh.
But we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So, okay, we saw it opening night. Blake.
Yeah.
What'd you think about it?
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was meh, but I didn't think it was the greatest Marvel movie that came out so far.
What is a big standout for you of the movie?
Big standout for me is Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Him coming out and just rocking, the whole hunter and prey, kicking butt and taking names.
I did like Black Panther. I liked his introduction. It didn't seem too forced. Overall, I thought they did a pretty good job, juggling all of the characters.
Yeah. And I like the fact that, you got to bring in a character that had only been seen somewhat in the last Captain America movie, which was the Winter Soldier.
He was kind of the highlight of the movie.
He's got the best hair in Marvel.
He probably does have the best hair.
He's definitely the cutest.
Cody, you want in on this?
He's eating chicken right now.
Eating the chicken, all right.
Chicken.
I mean, we can mic you up.
Let the boy eat his chicken.
All right, so...
Okay, Mr. Commentator main guy with the headset on, what do you think was the outstanding or highlighted portion of this pretty overall meh movie?
It was definitely...
This chicken smells good.
It was definitely the airport fight scene. Anybody?
Yeah.
Airport fight scene? Yeah, because Paul Rudd was there, and him and Spider-Man were the only thing that made that movie tolerable.
Spider-Man and Black Panther definitely stole the whole damn show.
Paul Rudd was pretty great, even though he had a whole 2 lines in his...
They were the best lines in the movie.
Okay, so what did you think about Spider-Man?
Aunt May got hot.
That's been a little bit of a controversial move, as getting the hot young Aunt May in there.
Yes.
Well, she would be.
Boner City, USA, population
by
me.
this, she would be young because he's only 16, and everything else she's old because he's a full-grown adult.
I just want to say that this, even as cool as any Spider-Man incarnation is going to be, they will never beat the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man for the simple fact there is no Macho Man Randy Savage in any of these.
That's the only reason.
Or Bruce
Tobey
Campbell.
Maguire.
Bonesaw is ready.
Yeah, that was the only thing good about those movies was Macho Man Randy
Savage.
Savage.
The third one when he's got his...
fucking Doc Ock, man.
Yeah, he's got the best bangs as far as a villain goes.
Okay, all of our views of the original Raimi Spider-Mans have been tainted by the third one, but overall, the first 2 were actually pretty solid movies.
When those ladies were all up on him being intolerable and he smacks her down, I think that I stood up in the theater and clapped. You remember you were there. I went, yeah!
That was a long time ago.
Whatever.
Man. Okay, so Spider-Man. What did you think about Tom Holland? He portrays
the boy.
Spider-Man.
The boy.
I mean,
he was
Peter
cool.
Parker.
I like Andrew Garfield better, although maybe I didn't. I think I'm going to put all my chips in with this guy.
Well, I mean, Andrew Garfield was kind of like, he was like cool, hip guy.
I hate that pug they got to play Gwen Stacy.
Emma Stone?
Yeah, she looks like a pug.
What?
She's a pugkin.
What is
Emma
wrong with
Stone
you?
was hot.
Emma Stone is so hot. What is...
Emma Stone was hot.
If you took like a normal human girl and fused her with a pug, you would have Emma Stone.
Nah, dude, Emma Stone is... Yeah.
A pug.
Nah.
It's okay.
Nah.
Whatever.
Emma Stone is very attractive.
You're all wrong.
You're
What
wrong.
I dip my balls into.
Okay, so we agree that Tom Holland is going to be a good Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you could tell that he was more of like the scientisty kind of like Peter Parker is supposed to be. Like, he made his own web shooters and all of that, and impressed Tony Stark. And
No, I think what impressed
Maybe
Tony Stark.
that's why new Peter Parker is like the best one so far.
I think what impressed
give him a microphone.
Give me a fucking microphone.
Give him a microphone.
what I think impressed Tony Stark much more was Aunt Hottie, as he kept calling her.
His aunt was hot. His
Aunt
aunt was
Hottie.
hot. Aunt May is fine.
All right, here we go. All right, we're going to be a little bit unprofessional here for a
And
second
introduce somebody else.
while we
I showed up late. I need
mic up Cody
We're calling
here.
an audible.
There we go. We're phoning a friend here.
So this is another rotund gentleman with a Hawaiian shirt eating Kentucky Fried.
Cody, you can sit over here.
I'm good. I'm good.
At this moment, he might be the best of us, or at least the best off.
Okay, so what was the question? I mean, basically what we thought about the current Peter Parker. The new one, I mean...
He's holding chicken in one hand.
Holy chicken.
You have two hands.
Okay, fine. So...
Talk for me for a second so I can get you turned up.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Check one.
Turned
Check
up.
one.
Turn it
So
up.
it's Civilus.
Turned up.
There we
Civilus.
go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so basically, I don't know, I think this new Peter Parker is pretty much their best.
And then you immediately take the
So
microphone
far.
away from your face.
He's got to put chicken in
I
his
gotta
mouth.
put chicken in my mouth. I don't know. I think the newer Peter Parker is because of the fact he does that sciencey thing. He plays that awkward teenager well, whereas instead of like the past few incarnations have been like, oh well, he's awkward, but he sort of
So-
finds his own way where he's like this.
Andrew Garfield was every character I ever made in Tony Hawk.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's basically it. And so, I mean, that combined with, just that awkward and the fact that he was able to still play off the sarcastic, plays that Spider-Man always does anyway whenever he's like fighting bad guys and doing his Spider-Man thing. I think that's what carries him off as the best incarnation so far.
So I don't know if this was just me because I know he is a British actor doing a Brooklyn accent, but did his accent slip a little bit, or was that just his Brooklyn accent? Because I felt like a little bit of the British accent came through a little bit.
I didn't notice.
I didn't notice. It sounded
Too
like
distracted by Hot Aunt May.
Yeah.
Aunt Hottie.
And it also showcased like how strong Spider-Man actually is. Like when he just like caught and stopped Winter Soldier's arm.
Yeah, it made him look like a straight up pussy.
Yeah, he was. I think Spider-Man he had like just raw power. He just outpowers
Raw
most of
power.
them. Like aside from Vision, like he probably could have just destroyed everybody in that
Vision
fight.
is the type of character that I hate to see in comics because they can literally make anything possible. They can do anything. They can stop anything. Yeah, they have their limitations, but I think they make any kind of story so unrealistic it makes it unenjoyable for me. I like in Thor, any of those characters that are so super powered, it's like they can do anything they want. I don't like it. I don't know. I don't really like Cape Comics, so that's my input. I don't like it.
So, but how did you feel about him walking around like in a sweater, talking to Scarlet Witch?
So I just recently
funny.
found out that Scarlet Witch was the sister to the Mary Kate and Ashley.
Elizabeth Olsen, and she looks
I
just
just
like
thought
them.
that she was another Olsen. We're Olsens,
Yeah, but
Wait a
we're
minute,
not,
but we're
wait a
not
minute.
related to
we're
them.
not the same
The
Olsens.
woman who plays Scarlet Witch is related to Mary.
See, you didn't know it.
How did you guys not know
I
that?
didn't know that either.
See,
I didn't know that.
you haven't seen anything better. I mean, them legs though, but she's significantly taller than her crackhead sisters.
And don't look anything like them.
Yes, she looks
She looks
just like
nothing
them.
like them.
Let's
She
talk
looks
about their
nothing like
brother
them.
Brett. I think they have a brother named Brett or Brent.
Trent.
Trent. There we go.
Trent Olsen.
Some tool name. Trent.
I don't know. I don't know anything about him, but her as an actress, she's
Yeah.
done some good stuff.
Yeah, like wearing those short dresses.
Marcy something May Marlene. I don't know. That was her breakout role.
Whatever.
And then,
I just care that she was Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
Good.
Wanda
Maximoff.
Yeah, and she held that accent pretty well as well.
Yeah.
So Baron Zemo.
I wanted a purple hood. I wanted him to look like Purple Cobra Commander, but that did not happen for me.
No.
Like, where does his barrenness?
Well, he was Colonel Zemo in this, not even Baron.
And they called him Baron.
Did they?
He called himself Baron.
Maybe that will be something he'll play that role in Infinity Wars.
I don't know anything about that character, so
Baron Zemo.
Blake does. Blake does.
His family he gets the title Baron from his like great however many great grandfathers in Germany, and his father was a general or.
So it makes him so special. I mean,
he was very highly decorated in the German military.
So aside from his family getting killed, why? I mean, like, if his family hadn't have gotten killed by the Avengers,
he would have just been a sauerkraut.
Would he just been just a dude?
Yeah, he would have just been a dude.
He has no sort of powers.
He does in the comics, but I guess not in the...
What sort of powers does he have in the comics?
He's kind of like... he's a little bit of a dumbed-down Red Skull. Like
Super Soldier.
Super Soldier, yeah. But
he had an opportunity to have that Super Soldier serum.
Yeah.
I wanted to see all of those Why are you got a phallic chicken waving at us?
Are you not eating that chicken?
I'm eating that chicken.
Okay, then don't wave it at us.
No, and part of the reason he wears the purple mask is because his face got melted, and so he wears
Which did not in the movie. He tried to shoot himself like a pussy.
Yeah. And then Black Panther was like, nah, not today.
So aside from Zemo setting up Captain and Iron Man against each other, there was really no real villain.
Crossbones?
Crossbones
was cool.
He was wasted.
The first 5 minutes was pretty good watch with Crossbones.
If they could have used him a little bit more in the movie as part of the main...
I don't think that they should have killed him off.
Nope. Well, maybe he's still alive. Maybe the Scarlet Witch's powers protected him from his... I got nothing, but...
I mean, and that is
yeah, because he was supposed to die in what? Captain America, the second one?
I don't know.
When the building fell on top of him?
the building dropped on him, that's right.
Yeah, and then that's how he became Crossbones, but...
more like crushed bones.
See, I don't... that whole setup there with her encasing his explosion and then killing all those people, I don't like... That's not really her fault. She did all that she could do to try to save everybody and minimize collateral damage.
Yeah, but wasn't it because some of the Wakandan people got killed and they were there like on a peace thing or something? And
that's part of it, yeah.
I think it was just to bring the issue to the table
of how to control
making it an issue.
Yeah, I think
making superheroes an issue. I think that's what it was, and then they sabotage from there.
I think they used that as the main reason. Like, here's an excuse for us to try to...
How do they do it in the comic?
Well, in the comic it was completely different. Yeah. Because there was a group of... a young teenage group of wannabe superheroes who were trying to be all cool and whatnot for
all the starbursts.
For a TV show, and a school got blown up because they goofed up.
Yeah, they killed a bunch of children.
They killed a bunch of children and teachers and all that. And so, Tony Stark heard about this and he's like, "Oh my God, we need to be controlled and we need to be, brought to justice and have all of us be categorized and yada yada yada, so we can be controlled and be told what to do." And Captain America's like, "No, we have our own. We are citizens underneath these masks, and we have the right to do what we see as necessary and as right. And I will not give up my freedom of choice just so people can sit there and tell me later on down the road that they don't like something, so they can tell me to go take care of it."
But,
Yeah,
but it's okay to break the law if you're wearing like a mask as
No.
long as you're like trying to do something good.
No, it's not. But in Captain America's mind, he was not breaking the law. He was following the laws set by the amendments and by the amendments in the by the forefathers and all that. He was doing what he thought was morally right. That was what
I
he
really liked
in
how
his
in
mind.
this is adverse to the original comics, how, because in the original comics, they had even the bad guys registered. Magneto was all for, the Registration Act and all of that stuff. And so, so for them to not try to utilize those guys and things like that, because, it makes more sense why they wouldn't even follow that anyway. And so, just to see that where, it's just the heroes amongst the heroes trying to figure out this new policy whenever they're still so fresh, because that's another thing about the Marvel Universe movies that I really like is adverse to what's going on in the comics is that they're all still fresh in the world. Like Captain America's only been out for just several years, and Tony's just been Iron Man for just a little while, and Spider-Man just became Spider-Man
For the third time.
Recently. And so, all of their big happenings and everything like that, it's still something that our current world's still trying to come to terms with. That there are people that are far more powerful and abnormal than what they thought standard biology was. And so to see that and to see how they did that in a different fashion than what they did with the comics, but still keep that general premise was far more interesting than what I thought happened in the original comics anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah. Basically, to dumb it down, in the comic books of Civil War, there was Captain America and his team were all about freedom of choice and freedom of being able to help when they feel is right, versus Iron Man's Registration Act, where they can only help when they're told to. They have, if they're not told to, they basically have to stand there and watch as people get hurt and get killed and all this stuff. And in Captain America's mind and some of the others' mind, they will later down the road be told by senators and political people to only go after political enemies and political no-nos that they want gotten rid of. That's basically the dumbed-down reason of Civil War.
So I haven't read all of the Civil War books, but I read part of them, and a big character in that was Namor. Do you think we will ever see Namor the Submariner in the Marvel Universe?
We might, if they do. I don't know if it'll be in like Civil War Part 2 or if they'll do his solo movie. Because Doctor Strange is getting his own movie, and I think it's before Iron Man Civil War.
I've heard nothing about Namor, though. I don't even know
I've not heard
if
anything
Disney
about him
owns
either.
that character or not. I don't know.
Isn't he just like Diet Aquaman?
He came before Aquaman.
It is.
Yeah, but I mean, we've got Jason Momoa going to be an Aqua hero. I think anything else compared to that's just going to be... He's going to be the generic pop version of it. I'm not going to watch it.
Well, he is a diet version of Aquaman, but he's also considered, since Marvel doesn't own the rights to the X-Men or anything, he can't be classified as a mutant.
Yeah, that
But
too.
he is classified as a mutant in the comics.
Yeah,
I
no,
remember him interacting a lot with the Fantastic Four.
Well, yeah, because he was in love with Sue
Yeah.
Storm.
I think
He
Marvel
even
needs to do a
kidnapped
deal with Fox and get Fantastic Four back since that last movie tanked so hard.
Oh, well, they've been trying to, and see, that was the thing, is that, whenever Marvel nearly went out, before the 2000s, before Marvel nearly went bankrupt, and so Fox basically helped them out, and they sold a lot of their rights to their characters, Spider-Man, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, if I'm not mistaken, was part of that as well.
Yeah, but I think they ended up getting Daredevil back.
Right, they ended up getting Daredevil back, and they've been trying to get the X-Men back and the Fantastic Four back for a while. but Fox is still trying to hold out for a really big payout from Disney now that the buyouts have happened and the merge between Disney and Marvel. And so basically what Marvel's been doing now is they've just been starving them out. Basically, they've whenever they cut off all the Fantastic Four comics and the X-Men comics,
they're still crapping out X-Men comics.
Right. But I mean, in terms of like bringing out new toys and things like that, merchandising for the movies, they're not going to do or anything like that. So that way, Fox can't get a dime in terms of marketing or merchandising. So they have no video game rights, no toy rights for whenever they bring these terrible attempts out. I mean, although I think Apocalypse will be pretty sweet, but anything that they do with the Fantastic Four has been so god-awful, and it makes me so angry because they're my favorite out of the entire Marvel universe.
I know. I kind of liked the newest Fantastic Four movie. I liked it.
Doom? Really? You liked Doom?
No, that was god-awful.
I
didn't like Doom, but I liked the Fantastic Four.
I'll say that for like the first half hour, and you could definitely tell because what happened during the entire production of the movie, Fox took over the director's vision and basically said, no, you're going to do this because we're the movie studio and we own the rights. Even though the guy had a completely original idea for the retelling of the Fantastic Four. And he ended up posting it online. I mean, you can Google it and find it. But the original story for it was really, really rad. It was really cool for a Fantastic Four story. It's one of the more cool ones that I've read. And you could tell for like the first 30 to 45 minutes that this movie could have gone somewhere and it could have been really, really cool. It started off really strong. It was really great. The guy who played Dr. Richards was really cool. You see a couple of the regulars from House of Cards in there, who plays Sue Storm and who also plays Dr. Richards.
Kate Mara. It was one of the Mara sisters. It was either Kate or I don't know.
And I mean, and you have Michael B. Jordan or whatever, he's just about good in just about everything he's ever done.
The Wire.
Yeah, you got The Wire.
I know, I haven't seen Creed yet.
Fruitville Station.
And stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. And so, and then right as soon as Doom shows up,
you mean tinfoil?
You can tell right when the studio takes over, and it just goes straight to hell. The whole movie.
Yeah,
it's so anticlimactic and it's so bad.
What I liked about it is, like I said, the Fantastic Four, how they got their powers, but I did not like tinfoil Doom. He looked literally like he was all wrapped up in tinfoil.
So I think the best rendition of the Fantastic Four has actually been Tobias Funke's Broadway rendition that you see in season, I believe, 4 of Arrested Development.
Yes.
So, going forward with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what characters would we like to see pop up?
I want them to do a Skrull invasion, but I don't want that to happen until we get to.
Well, I mean, like, what characters do we want to see introduced that they've not already?
Taskmaster.
Taskmaster would be pretty rad. I would really like to see that.
I have no idea who that is.
He's cool.
Yeah, he's very, very cool.
He has a skull face. He can watch like somebody and learn their maneuvers and.
Oh, like Tony Stark did with Captain America, learning his fight moves and all that.
Yeah, but much quicker. That's like his ability.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, with these new Spider-Man movies, I would really like to see a good Green Goblin.
Goblins, God, yes.
But
I would love to
see the Green Goblin.
I would love to see the Sinister Six.
See, that would be really interesting too. Maybe even the Thunderbolts, maybe.
Black Bolt. That's the Inhumans.
They've kind of squashed that for now. I mean, they've got that in the TV show, but
I think the TV shows that they're doing are far better than their movies right now, in my opinion. Their TV shows are just great.
So, as another Netflix show, how about a Moon Knight?
That would be
show?
cool.
I would be all for that. I mean, I know it's in the works. I've heard it's in the works.
So, do we think that the Defenders will ever make their way to the cinematic universe?
Yeah, they'll have to eventually.
Unless
they definitely will.
If they do a good Ghost Rider.
That's not going to happen.
I don't think they're ever going to touch that again.
You just use the words good and Ghost Rider in the same sentence.
Hey, Ghost Rider is awesome.
There could be some interesting Ghost Rider stories, but it has to take a really special writer.
They need to keep Nicolas Cage away from it. That's all.
I don't know. It was all Nicolas Cage's fault.
No,
the
story
writer
was
who wrote all the blocking that says, "Hey, Ghost Rider, point here and say, stay away from me here," and
yeah, but
all those really
the
terrible
way
lines.
a lot of the story was crap, but Nicolas Cage's acting in it kind of sucked too.
I wouldn't mind if
because
Sam Elliott came back. I mean, That dude rules.
He's the voice of the West.
Yeah. He did a pretty good Peacekeeper. That was the only good thing in the movie, was Peacekeeper.
I mean, I don't really care for Marvel, so I don't really know.
Because you just don't like all capes.
Well, there's very few caped comics that I like.
The Sandman series that's coming out. Or was it Sandman
No,
or was
it's,
it
Preacher.
No, it was something that they did with Neil Gaiman that they're bringing to TV and television.
The American God?
Yeah, I think that was that was it. Yeah.
No, they
my
do
bad.
a Sandman.
No, I hope they don't do a Sandman because it will never live up to the source material.
What about when they were going to have J. Gordy Levitt on it?
Yeah, he dropped out because
Yeah,
he
he
seen the
dropped out.
writers were bullshit.
Good.
It was a very unfortunate because he would have been perfect for it. I mean, I think he's great. Just
I
as
know.
it
I
is,
saw a
but-
picture of Tom Hiddleston just in black shirt, black pants,
Yes.
and had really long black hair, and he looked perfect.
Hiddleston's so great.
He
Gonna
looked
play
perfect
Hank
as
Williams.
Morpheus.
The
Yeah.
Night Manager, man.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
All right, so what didn't we like about Civil War?
How
All but Hot May, Spider-Man, and Paul Rudd.
I
I just didn't enjoy. I didn't think it was. It just felt very meh. Like nothing really happened. There was some like internal arguments dashed in with like an okay fight scene, and then I don't know. I didn't enjoy it.
see. That's what Civil War is basically an internal fight. And they
Well, I
had to
get
make
that.
it.
It's
I mean,
called
they
Civil
they
War.
had a lot of stuff on their plate. They had a lot of characters that they had to juggle and give screen time to,
And see, now that I felt that the amount of screen time that they gave to each character, I thought that was fine. I felt that was very well balanced, but I think the problem for me was that they both, and I don't know if it's a plus or a negative, but I remember in the comics it was very, very clear, and at least they made it very apparent in the comics, at least from my point of view, that Tony was just wrong about the entire idea. Because he brought Peter Parker to reveal himself on national television.
it didn't happen in the movie either.
It didn't happen in the movie either.
Nobody
some
revealed
really
themselves,
bad
really.
things happened in that. They cloned Thor and then killed Goliath and all this stupid shit.
We did learn where Thor and Hulk were in this movie, since they were absent. Hulk's in space, Thor's
Right.
looking for stuff in space.
But
and
in the movie, they made it very half and half. They made you see from both sides, and that I didn't really like because
I mean, they're just taking like you decide which is.
I don't think there's a
morally
middle
correct.
ground there. It's like these are the people that save the world. There was an alien invasion, and those guys stopped it. And everyone's more upset about them registering and
It's
being
this
controlled.
Total ridiculous PC social justice world we live in today.
See, and that's what I felt. A lot of what it
That's
was
what it is.
that it
and
wasn't
it's awful.
It wasn't.
It is god awful.
Yeah, it's. You put too much of the real world into a
Get
fantasy
that,
scenario.
get that out of
keep it
my, get that out of my entertainment. Come
Well,
on.
and I don't like the fact that just like every other Iron Man movie, it was all just, oh look, I'm Tony Stark. I'm going to do whatever I want, and I'm going to say everything I want, and people are going to just do it because I'm Tony Stark. I'm Iron Man. And then what happens in the middle of the movie? He figures out he fucked up, and he's like, oh my bad. But everybody else has to clean up his mess.
See, and that was the thing, is that that's another thing that I didn't like about the movie is also how, and I'm not like continuing on to add on to what Blake said. I'm just adding like a new note here, but like how they also just turned something, because I mean, chances said it felt a little stretched because they had to give so much to so. They still fleshed out a full blown Captain America side story to that, and it's like, and that's sort of. And how that ended with, Tony finding out about his parents and all this other stuff. It's like,
so
kind of led away from the main entire point of the entire movie.
So on that, how long do you think Captain America actually knew that Bucky killed Tony's parents and was keeping it from
He
him?
didn't know he didn't know Bucky had done it. He knew that how they had died, but he did not know for sure that it was Bucky himself that killed him. Because he said, I knew how they died, but I didn't know it was Bucky.
I just want to point out, is this mirror to Don Cheadle look like he had cancer in this? He was looking pretty rough.
He looked kind of old, did it not feel a little cheap that Vision is the one that like caused him to hit the ground?
Yeah.
I just don't like Vision. I didn't like him when I seen him in Age of Ultron. I like the actor, but I just hate characters like that.
Vision really belongs. I mean, he's going to play a big part whenever,
Infinity Gauntlet.
When you're going with this more like hyper realism as far as like how you're treating the universe, and then you bring in characters like Vision,
well, I mean, they're going to have to.
I hate it.
Put that in there somewhere because I mean, how the hell is Captain America going to help fight Thanos?
Yeah,
Tony's not going to be able to help fight Thanos.
I would just rather keep like all of this, like the Captain America Avengers stuff. Keep it like the realism that they're doing right now.
I mean, you say realism, but we have Rocket Raccoon in the same universe.
That's what I'm saying. Keep the space stuff, like your stuff with like the Thanos, Guardians of the Galaxy, like people who can do that crazy stuff.
But it's all going to collide.
I know, and I hate it. It's the part of comics that I despise. I don't.
So you should just stick with the Netflix series.
No, I will stick with reading Vertigo in print. That's what I will do.
I don't know.
And I'll be much happier.
Infinity Gauntlet. If they do
Hellboy, yeah.
If they do Infinity Gauntlet, if they do it right, I think it'll be awesome.
I do believe the Russos are doing that as well.
Yeah, I know. I think Infinity Gauntlet will be great. I mean, anything that they've done in space so far. I mean, I think they've only done Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy ruled.
And that was their best movie.
So far. No, okay, Thor 2 was really great.
Thor 2
too.
was really rad, but
them Dark Elves, man. Although
Guardians was just so.
Where were the
great.
Avengers at during the Dark World when like this very, very cataclysmic event was happening? And it was just like Thor and Natalie Portman handling it.
Yeah, it was post Avengers.
Was it?
Yeah, it was post Avengers.
Is that post Avengers?
So after
No, it's not because he said he was in New York. She slapped him for not being there when he was in New York.
That's right. Yeah, so where were the Avengers then, huh?
I guess they were
leaving Goldilocks to handle it by himself. I mean, he did, but he could have used some help from the Avengers instead of Vampire Bill's dad and Natalie Portman. So, not Vampire Eric, my bad. Vampire Eric's dad, Skarsgård dude.
I think Captain America
the
was
the second one. Oh no,
he's
so wasn't the second Thor? Wasn't that like Thor versus Doctor Who?
No,
is that the one?
What?
Chris?
Yeah, he was Doctor Who.
Eccleston.
He was one of the Doctor Who.
He was a Doctor Who.
Oh, well, see, I don't give a shit about Doctor Who.
I just know that Christopher Eccleston was a Doctor.
Doctor Who's
it's awful.
That's a completely different conversation.
But no,
that show
like
was just awful.
I think Captain America was taking care of the Winter Soldier problem, and Iron Man was taking care of the Mandarin problem, and all that.
You mean the dude with the dragon tattoo?
No, the British actor who
I would have took the girl with the dragon tattoo over their Mandarin. That was
Numi Rapace or
the one from the American movie because I don't want to read subtitles.
The sister of the one that played the chick from Fantastic Four.
The Daniel Craig one.
Whatever. Okay. So I thought it was okay. I want to see it again. I thought it dragged in parts, but I would watch it again just to see how it changed.
That was the thing. Like the first Avengers, it was this big sense of awe. Like, oh wow,
they're all here.
They're all here.
I'm
the
getting
same
all
movie.
of these guys from these funny books on one screen.
And then Ultron comes out, and I'm just like, okay, there they are again.
Age of Ultron. I
felt the same way in Civil War. Like
I
like them whenever they're just separately by themselves doing their own thing.
For sure.
When they're all together, it's just this big cluster of everything happening at once. Trying to have all these side stories. And that's something right there that goes to show that it really works in comics. Where you can write that and have that in panel by panel by panel. But in the movies, it's just what you see. And so you don't get any of that inner stuff. And, whenever you put all of these guys together at once, that's just where it sort of just kind of gets lost for me.
I don't know. Age of Ultron didn't seem like it had a whole bunch of side stories. I thought it was well put together, and they all had one main story that they were all trying to get to the end of. I liked it.
I mean, I like robots and all, but I did not like Age of Ultron.
All right, so sounds like we're divided on it. I'm personally going to watch it again.
I have a better final thoughts than your stupid one you're about to do. So, registration for superheroes. Where do you guys stand?
No.
No. No, not at all. I'm with Cap all the way.
I mean, I
just hate Tony, though.
Even if we have a few casualties, they're still doing the greater good and protecting us. So,
but who's greater good? who's greater good?
They're protecting.
So if you fell into some toxic sludge and then you could shoot lasers out of your nipples and you put on a mask, you could go and break laws to do what you perceived as the greater good. I think we should know who Laser Nipple Man is, so we can keep him in check.
Whatever.
So I'm siding with Tony Stark.
Okay. So,
well, having them registered doesn't necessarily keep them in check. It just
If
lets
they
them
have-
know who they are.
If they have someone to answer to,
who
But, I
am
mean,
I going to
that's-
answer to? If I'm shooting lasers out of my nipples, I'm just going
I'm
to
sure
say...
someone can build an anti-laser
See,
nipple
that's the thing,
ray.
a registration act isn't going to stop that. That's just, these people, most of these superheroes are American. They already have social security numbers. They're already on the database. They're already on the grid, man. The government already knows who these people are, so I don't get why a registration act saying, oh, well, they're a superhero.
Well, and for certain,
No, but it was more than just registering them. It was they had a governing body they had to answer to.
Isn't that what S.H.I.E.L.D. was to begin with?
That fell apart.
Hell Hydra.
They need something better. I don't know.
I
I
just
side with
Cap
Captain.
on that.
I side with Captain because
Or not the Cap. I said Iron Man.
I side with Captain because, again, they need to be look, you can do what you want to do and, help save people and do it whenever you feel like it, but don't take it to such extremes. But I'm not going to sit there and go, yeah, you need to register and tell me who you are and everything about you, because there are some people who wear the mask like Spider-Man so that their family can be saved. In Civil War, Tony was like, hey, Spider-Man, reveal who you are. And not 2 minutes after Peter said, look, I'm Peter Parker, Aunt May dies, because they're like, holy crap, we know who he is. We know where he lives. So they kill Aunt May.
Down on Aunt May's
Okay,
house.
but still, the heroes are just people. So what's going to stop from one of these people who are protecting you? You know what? I'm tired of this. No one respects me or whatever. Or they feel like they're walked on over, or they're taken advantage of, and so they decide to turn against people.
Well, look at Spider-Man.
No.
Again. Look at Spider-Man
They're
again
just
because
people. People are fallible.
Spider-Man is always getting shit on.
I will put my trust in the rules and not man.
All right, for this next segment, I'm going to step out. I'm going to let Camden take over. We got Cody, Adam, and Camden here that are going to talk about Overwatch and Battleborn.
Yeah.
All right, take it away. Somebody talk.
Well, I'm sitting down.
Lots of dead air. Good job.
Whatever. You can edit it. So I'm going to have to crouch because you're much smaller than me. All right, so Battleborn, Overwatch. 2 games in the MOBA first-person, I think they're calling it, a heroic shooter?
Yeah, Overwatch is dubbed as a heroic shooter. It's
I think
strictly multiplayer.
That's what they're saying Battleborn
Battleborn
is.
is they're saying it's like a MOBA shooter. So
Well, first of all, the premise behind these games, do you think this can be a successful genre of video game? You think it's going to take off, or you think they're just pandering to the competitive market?
Well, I think
competitively, I believe it would be
competitively, it's
successful.
definitely going to stand the test of time. I mean, Blizzard's already shown that they could be a top contender, especially with the growing esports fad. Which I don't think it's a fad. I think it's a growing industry that's actually going to be something here in the next 10 to 15 years. It's already blowing up enough as it is, but I think with Overwatch, Blizzard is really just stepping up to the plate and saying, you know what, we want some of this. I mean, granted, they're the ones that created it initially with StarCraft, but now that the popularity of StarCraft is kind of waning, I mean, specifically here in the States, I don't know about Korea. Korea, it's probably still really big. But with the advent of, games like League of Legends, which has completely taken the world by storm, Blizzard, they just had a really great idea that spawned off of a failed MMO that they were trying to make, and so this right here, they're definitely wanting a big piece of the pie of the whole esports thing. But in turn, they also made an exceptionally and incredibly fun game out of it as well. So I mean, whether you're playing it competitively or not, it's a game that will definitely be around for a long time for sure.
See, and that's where my stance is leaning a little bit more towards Battleborn at this point, because with Overwatch, it's just online play.
Yeah, is there
There's no
campaign stone.
There's no campaign. It's you play multiplayer online.
So it's a straight up multiplayer game. Period.
It's a straight up multiplayer game.
They are following the trend of selling a $60 game with only multiplayer. Which
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Okay, now normally I have a really big problem with paying for multiplayer only
for a part of a game.
You know, but Blizzard really has put enough content and enough meat into the game to warrant a price tag like that. In my opinion, at least.
Well, I mean,
and you're right. You're right on that because they are saying that the campaign for Battleborn has a lot of meat to it, but yet there's not a lot of multiplayer, like different maps, different styles, or more different.
Overwatch definitely has the variety in multiplayer over Battleborn. Battleborn has, 3 different levels?
They have 2 different levels in each. Multiplayer, they have Incursion, Meltdown, and Capture the Flag. Basically.
And they have their own unique
and
level.
then they have
that you
2
play
maps per.
Yeah, so there's 6 maps. I think with Overwatch it's like 20 something.
Yeah, I think it's pretty big in terms of that. I mean, in the beta, you only had just several maps to really mess around with, and then you have like 3 or 4 different game modes that they have, but you have an entire cast of characters, and the cast of characters, if I'm not mistaken, is only going to get larger.
Yeah, same with Battleborn. I think Overwatch, they're at 20 or 21?
Right. And I think
Overwatch has 21, Battleborn has 25.
And Battleborn's got how many planned?
And they got 5 more coming with the next few months.
All right, so Battleborn has the characters, and all the characters do play. I've played a lot of Battleborn. I have not played Overwatch. Cody has. Battleborn, all their characters that I've played feel completely different. They fill different roles. They're very unique to whatever your play style is.
Yeah, I think that's what's so great about these types of games that are definitely finally coming in. They're taking what made League of Legends so great and what made Dota great, and the fact that you have this big game that you can play with other people or you can try to play by yourself, and you're not just stuck with one character with one set of abilities, or you give an entire cast of different characters that each play differently. And that opens up so many different strategies, so many different possibilities, so many different points of fun. And that way, each person that plays it can have their own specific play style. They can have their own specific, thing that they want to dive into. Like for instance, okay, with Battleborn, for instance, or even with Overwatch, you can play tank-like characters that will take all the damage, and things like that, and that all the other support characters can stand behind and do damage while you're sitting there taking the brunt of everything, so that way you can push for the objectives or anything like that. And then, you have your nimble, assassin-type characters.
You have the assassins, you have the snipers, of course. You have the versatile characters that can, depending on what skills you can go any way. You can either be assassin, you can be a long-range weapon, long-range damage dealer. Oscar Mike is probably the best versatile character that I have touched on so far in Battleborn.
Yeah, if you play first-person shooters, he's going to be your go-to because that's what he plays like. If you're, play Call of Duty or whatever, he's going to be your type of character, which is pointed out everywhere. Any kind of review or whatever, they're going to recommend playing Oscar Mike because of his ability to do that.
Because he's a good a beginner character to me. If you're used to playing Call of Duty, Call of Duty and all
there are characters that definitely have a learning curve. The first time I played the Heliophage, which is the last level of the campaign, I used a completely new character thinking I could just wing it and be fine. I played with Umbra, who is a hybrid healer, DPS.
Oh, the support.
Yeah, but she doesn't do straight-up damage. You have to siphon life off of people, but that in turn triggers all of your other effects, makes your cooldowns less. And you can really, I think she's got the highest DPS build out of any of the Battleborn right now, with certain gear.
Range DPS, I believe she does at that mid range.
Yeah.
I believe she does. At long range, I think it is a tie between Thorn and Marquise.
But Thorn, man, no shield, and I don't know.
But she does have regen. That gives her an edge.
I want to see more games like this because this sort of game kind of carries over what I like to see on tabletop games. Is different kind of player powers that each player can pick, so they can strategize differently. So it doesn't matter what level of skill you have. You may find something that you're all really good with versus what someone else is really good with, and still be able to make it work. Not one thing is the powerful build or what you're going to stomp everyone with this.
There's variety.
There's variety.
There's variety, and that's what I think makes them so great.
I don't know. Battleborn I've had a lot of fun with. My only complaint is that it doesn't feel like a lot of content with it. Like, I've played through the story so many times because I like playing online stuff with other people, but I really enjoy like the raid aspect of everyone going together against bosses, and it has phases. You have to strategize. I really like that versus playing people online in that sort of game. I like Call of Duty, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when it's like with these different powers, I like to play it like a story, playing together with your friends, because I get really salty when I lose, and so this is just overall more enjoyable for me. But as far as Overwatch goes, I don't know anything about it. Well, I know some stuff about it.
I know a few things, not very much.
You've watched Battleborn and played, but you've actually played Overwatch.
Yeah, well, I played the Battleborn beta, and I only played the multiplayer in that. And what I played in the multiplayer, I didn't really like it. The single player stuff I bet would be pretty cool because Gearbox just does what they do, and they're fun, and they bring that lively, characteristic, they're colorful.
It's comedic. It's funny.
It's funny, and that's where I think that they really excel. Definitely with the Borderlands series and everything like that. But with I don't even know where we're going with that.
I don't know. The multiplayer just seems...
The multiplayer is stale right now because they don't have a lot of maps. They don't have a lot of game different versions to play. All you have is, like I said before, capture the flag, incursion, and meltdown. Which now incursion is the most popular.
Well, that and
I think they were pushing too hard to make it like a MOBA as opposed to making it a solid shooter and so on. Which all the characters are cool and they all do different things. But I think making it like a competitive shooter as opposed to what's the mode where you have to escort the minions?
That is meltdown.
So you go into that thing and I've got all these like badass powers. I'm going to go and be the biggest badass there is and kick their asses. Well, it doesn't really work that way. You have to focus on killing minions, collecting shards, building
turrets,
building
more robots to sacrifice,
and then you can worry about shooting people. So if you're wanting like something just going head to head, from what I've watched of Overwatch, that seems like what it is.
Well, Overwatch, it feels like your fun arena shooters like Quake,
Team Fortress,
and it has that objective style stuff that you see in more popular shooters like Call of Duty and stuff like that. They have modes like Headquarters.
I've seen one where you have to escort this.
Yeah, that's the payload.
Like you have to push a car.
Right, that's their most basic game mode, and that's the one that'll probably be the basis for most of their competitive play. At least from what I've seen on streams and things like that. But it's very straightforward. There are no character builds. There's no leveling up. Each character has their abilities and then their ultimate, and then that's it.
Okay,
but their weapons are different. Their movements are different. Their stats are different. Things like that. But there's no items or anything like that give them.
See, and for me, because we all played D&D together. We're all used to that, being able to customize your dude to what you like, and that's why I like Battleborn. I think I'm going to play Overwatch. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be jaded to one side or the other. I think I get a little bit more enjoyment out of being able to go ahead and pick my guy who's completely different than anybody else, but then going ahead and being able to, through his, what's it called, the Helix system?
The Helix, which is the ability.
Which is where you can tweak your abilities to play the way that you want to play. But then there's also gear, and you can attach different gear to augment. If you're
through shards. You buy the gear, and then you
maybe playing a character that's not so much, doesn't have such a good shield or doesn't have a lot of health. You can get gear to kind of make
or a character that doesn't have health regeneration. You can give that through the gear.
You can put what you're lacking. Whereas what it sounds like, because I didn't know this about Overwatch, you have your powers and you don't have to build them up.
All of these characters, they're already heroes to begin with.
So there's no leveling system.
There's no leveling system.
So they're just straight up. Good.
You'll level as far as
you the player will level,
right? And you will get certain things, like cosmetic stuff.
So basically, they still have the command rank basically in Battleborn,
right? But and that was the thing with Battleborn. The Battleborn multiplayer, it felt a lot like, it was like saying, hey, look, there are games like Dota and League of Legends that are really, really popular right now, and we want to try to jump into that. Now, granted, I know for the first-person shooter realm, it's its first foray into the MOBA thing, but it felt like it was trying to be more of an objective-type shooter, kind of like Overwatch, but they wanted to try to add the MOBA aspect into it, and from there, it just felt like it was just way too confusing.
Yeah, I think you do. You lose like the core fun mechanics of the game by worrying about, the MOBA aspects of it.
That and the fact that the console community, it doesn't matter. The console community isn't really used to playing shooters in that fashion. So whenever I play Battleborn Online, I'm sitting here and I'm watching the lanes push, and I'm thinking, whenever I play League of Legends, whenever I play Dota, whenever minions are coming towards your objectives, you want to push that wave out so that way you can go towards their objective. And whenever I was playing that, it was just everybody running around, playing it like it was Call of Duty or something.
And that's my first, several matches.
That's all you're ever going to get unless you have, a team of people that, really know what they're doing.
Yeah, I've recently picked up online or played online matches, and there was a lot of coordination on Capture the Flag and Incursion. I haven't played Meltdown yet, but to me it seems like there was a lot more planning and a lot more teamwork in Incursion.
I think that's what they intended.
Yeah, but Capture the Flag, it was more like everybody fend for themselves almost. Right. Because, I played Marquise in the first couple matches, and I won a couple, lost a couple.
Who's a sniper robot butler.
Who's the sniper robot butler, by the way. And it just seems like to me, in Capture the Flag, it didn't seem fun because there was no, team coordination in any way. But it seemed like later on as I played, because I played a couple matches. I wanted to play a couple matches in each one. Meltdown, I'll probably try to do Meltdown either tonight or tomorrow to try that out, but it just seems like Incursion is going to be the map for now until they add more modes.
I think it's a game that definitely shows a lot of promise. I mean, they threw it out there, they developed it, they made a complete game, and I think it's just the tip of the iceberg on that. I think that they're going to formulate that with patches and with expansions and the planned content that they have. I think it's going to be really fleshed out, and it's going to end up being a really fun experience. And it wasn't bad from what I played. It wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't wow, this is
genre defining.
Yeah,
yeah. But the good thing that I think that Gearbox is doing smartly is every when new stuff comes out, you're going to get a free new character,
another campaign level.
You're going to get another campaign level, and you're going to get another new mode and several new maps. So you got 5 characters, so you're probably going to have 5 new game modes. You're going to have a lot of new maps. You're going to get 5 new characters. And these are all free, by the way.
Gearbox has been up front that they're not going to make you pay to play. The stuff you're going to pay for is all going to be cosmetic stuff, which
that's what
I like.
Blizzard's doing as well.
But I also do like it that you can earn currency in the game and still get those cosmetics as well.
Kind of like what Call of Duty does with their shards, or not shards, their
loot box.
Yeah, the crypto keys.
Yeah, that's it.
Where you can play games and get stuff and get cosmetic things or different guns. What they've got me, I've spent probably $200 on Call of Duty points because they started introducing guns you can only get through the rare drops, and so you just have to either play a lot or buy a bunch of points, which I did, and I still don't have all the guns that I want.
Yeah, see, and I think that's why Gearbox. I think that's why Gearbox is a little ahead in that department, because they're saying, hey, we don't want you to pay for stuff that it should be in the game regardless.
Well, I mean, the guns in this, they're not overpowered guns by any means. You're not going to get one of these guns and say
it's just a cosmetic.
In fact, it's quite the opposite. But I don't know. I've always liked how Gearbox animation is and the style, the cell shading and everything.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
cell shading artwork,
but
that design is so great.
Overwatch looks like a Pixar movie.
Yeah, and that's I mean, the art direction, the music, the sound effects, the characters. For me, whenever I first played it, whenever I was in the beta a while back, several months ago, I got in and I played the first couple of games, and I just immediately knew that this was something that I'm definitely going to sink a lot of time into. It feels like the next big first-person shooter that's really going to get people's attention. It feels like the way that Call of Duty 4 did. Which feels like that, and that's what excites me, because it's something that I know for a fact I'm going to sink a lot of time into it. It's just so much fun. As soon as a game ends, I want to jump into another one. I want to play with these different characters and things like that. And what's fun about it is that if you die, you can switch characters each and every single time.
Which is something that Battleborn does not have. You pick a character, you're stuck with them.
Right. I mean, and that fits the mode
in that match. Yes.
the MOBA type
now
gameplay.
on Overwatch, can there be multiples of the same character playing? Okay, so in Battleborn you can't do that.
You can't do that in the competitive mode that's coming out, but if you do it like your casual or free roam modes or something like that, yeah, you can do that.
In Battleborn, there can only be one character
per
team.
Per team, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so there can be two of the same people on opposing teams.
Yeah, because I think earlier today I played with two Galts. One was on my team and one was on their team, and so yeah, you can have multiple characters, but they're on opposite teams.
Right.
Because, I mean, I'd love to spam a bunch of Oscar Mikes or a bunch of Tobys.
Oh, God. Can you imagine,
a wall of Tobys with their shield walls? I don't know. I'm excited. I mean, I went to the midnight release, which was pretty disappointing, GameStop, because myself and another one of our contributors here were the only people there to pick up the game at midnight. Yeah, it was a letdown.
So I would have went with you.
So we had to chat with the terrible GameStop employees until it came out, and then we bounced. And
always trying to sell me a strategy guide. I don't want a strategy guide.
But I mean, regardless, I'm excited for Overwatch 2. I've been a big Gearbox person for a long time, but I'm willing to be wooed by Blizzard. I'm not as big of a Blizzard person as Mr. Cody here. I've played a little bit of WoW back in the day, but
yeah, I'm still excited for Legion. I've gotten addicted to Hearthstone again, thanks to a friend of mine. And StarCraft is still fun. Heroes of the Storm's great. I'm one of the few people that really like Diablo 3.
I like Diablo. I liked it on console. That's why I played it, and I thought it did well on console.
I mean, I still have my fond memories of Diablo 2. So, but I mean, I'm just really excited for what Blizzard's doing. They're paying a lot of attention to their games and stuff like that, and their polish definitely shows with Overwatch for sure. It's like playing a Pixar movie. It's perfect. It's got that charm. It definitely has that Pixar charm that I really, really enjoy, and I can't wait to get in and play with friends. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Well, I'll be one of those friends playing with you, but on that, I think it's easy to say they're both good games. You should definitely check them both out if you like fun in general, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Adios.